What's next, Steve? Where are you taking us? What exciting place?
We're going down to the beach at Vivon Bay.
Vivon Bay.
Vivon Bay.
That sounds French.
It is French. It's the French explorer Nicolas Baudin, when he was on the island in the very early 1800s, he named Vivon Bay. And it's a wonderful place, voted the best beach in Australia.
Ooh. Our day could not have begun any better, having the best beach in Australia all to ourselves. We spent some good time walking along the sands of Vivon Bay.
From there, we climbed up to a plateau that was filled with red kangaroos frolicking about. We eventually came to a jungle camp where breakfast was getting served.
It's a crazy looking forest, look at it, yeah? It's like dark, enchanted forest. At night, this will be pretty spooky with all these things like branches all over the place.
Yeah, and the smell of eucalyptus here, that's everywhere. It has a very pleasant, foresty smell.
True.
Hey guys.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm helping you clean up the table.
Good work.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, that's very nice. Salty cheese.
Halloumi.
Who, me?
Halloumi.
Oh, okay.
Kangaroo Island doesn't have a cow dairy, but we have a sheep milk dairy. And they produce halloumi and a few other cheeses and a couple of yogurts.
That's a very
Excellent.
interesting bread. It's not corn, what is it?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin bread.
Yeah, try some of this.
Come on, chef.
Let's try some of that.
Knock yourself out.
Yum.
I like it. I like it. It's salty, but not too salty.
Yeah.
Wow. That's perfect. So why is the barbie such a big thing anyway? I mean, how did it become so popular? You guys love doing this every week, or?
I think it's outdoors, it's informal,
Yeah.
easy to organise. We've got great lamb, beef, pork, you name it.
And I think it's all really beautifully set up because like you can come into a wilderness area like this and you have this lean-to and it's all ready and all you got to do is build your own fire and get going.
I saw a whole bunch of kangaroos just hop away from over here.
Australia's got a lot of cute animals. Kangaroos, the wallabies, koalas. They're great fun too.
We've heard a lot about Australia's animals.
Whew.
This is the Kangaroo Island fish, King George whiting.
Look at that.
Have you noticed that Bill is the best ambassador for Kangaroo Island? He starts all his sentences with Kangaroo Island. Watch this. Bill, who's brought us here?
Kangaroo Island Wilderness Tours.
It's clear to see you love Kangaroo Island.
Kangaroo Island's it's a great place to live, great place for kids to grow up. We have fantastic beaches like you saw today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to chip in and I'll open the bottle of wine
That's a good plan.
and I'll pass some around.
Oh, that fish is starting to smell lovely. That whiting starting to smell gorgeous. Cheers, boys. Thank you very
Cheers.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing us
Fantastic.
here.
What a great day.
This is spectacular, and now I've been to a bush barbie in Australia. Done it all. I've done it all, I tell you.
Fresh Kangaroo Island whiting fish.
This is the life.
Very famous.
Gentlemen, now, do most Australians just stand and talk while food is getting cold, or do they dig in?
We often have a glass in our hand too.
Oh, come on. Where's the glasses? Pass them all on.
Thank you. That looks fantastic.
I know. Let's get this done. It's a lot
do
of
it.
food. You guys have to work hard. We had the warmth of a fire and the hospitality of our hosts to thank for.
Cheers. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It is fantastic.
Kangaroo Island.
Kangaroo Island.
Next, we decided to visit a famous local gin maker. Gin is made primarily from juniper berries and other herbs and spices, and thus has one of the broadest range of flavors and spirits.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Very good. We're looking for John.
Oh, I'm John. How are you?
How are you? Very good. My name is Mayur.
Mayur?
Hi, John. I'm Rocky.
Hi, Rocky. How are you?
So
we heard a lot about you yesterday.
Yeah? Where have you been?
We were at Nick Hannaford's and we were drinking some of your gin. And you said it was
Fantastic.
really nice to come and like
What
take
a wonderful place to drink gin.
Yeah.
A lot of your gin.
Which is why one of us is a little...
Not me. So they said you have the nicest gin on the island.
We're the only gin on the island, but yes, we have 5 gins, and we also have a gin that won Champion Gin in Australia last year. So
Yeah, and
we're very well awarded. We've been around a long time.
And it's all thanks to a specific herb that you have. Or at least that's what they said to me.
A range of them, yeah. So
Okay.
I would describe most of our gins as being like a London dry style contemporary gin, but then we use local botanicals. So in our wild gin, we use a native berry, which we mix with common juniper, and it's a berry that the locals on the island call juniper, but it's not true juniper. They call it bubiala as well. So we called it wild gin because of that. This is a very floral, sweet gin. Then we made an O gin. We can talk about this one in a minute. I'm going to join you. That's wonderful.
We're from India. We insist that you drink with us.
Perfect. I'm going to grab some tonic. Have a sip and a smell first.
Yeah, let's do that.
So this is the one with the bubiala. It's more floral and sweet.
Oh, lovely. That's like a perfume. It's scented beautifully.
Yep.
Ooh, and
A
spicy.
little tonic? Or you've gone too far?
Sharp. No, I'm going to have some tonic that's...
And all these you're doing in this little trial distillery here, or
Yes,
in your big one?
This little one got us through for 10 years. By Christmas last year, we were running it 3 times a day and getting very tired, 7 days a week, because the demand was so strong. But we started out and we wanted to be small because we wanted it to be about quality, not quantity.
Cheers. I'm really looking at that mulberry gin with great interest.
Okay, mulberry gin. Now this, because we've made it with mulberries, we haven't sweetened this one. So I would normally use fresh lemon juice, a bit of basil, fresh basil, and maybe a little sugar syrup to make a nice basil smash cocktail. But today I'm just going to give you a bit of lemon, because that'll give you the acid and it'll give you the sweetness, and you'll get to understand what I mean about the mulberry gin that way.
Oh,
Oh, cheers.
cheers.
Now, is this a characteristic of your gin? I'm getting a very interesting spice every time I drink something.
We certainly have spices in there. The wild gin that you've tasted has pink peppers in it, so yeah, there's certainly some of that in there. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
That's fantastic.
I'm really looking forward to the little
Yeah, let's
gin
go for a
tour.
walk. Yep.
Should we
Thank
just come
you.
around?
Yeah, come
over
around.
here? Okay.
Yeah.
What's all this stuff lying here?
So this is a range of all the spices. So juniper berry, the common factor for all gin.
Right.
Mostly then they have coriander and angelica root. These are the backbone of a common London dry style gin. Earthy and musky. Okay, then you have things like, mace, cardamom,
Javitri,
cassia. They're minor botanicals. And then in some of our new ones, we have things like long pepper, which you would probably know, cubid
Yes.
pepper. I've got a bit of caraway here, and tonka bean. You know tonka bean? Tonka bean's quite amazing. It's from South America. I couldn't resist to use it.
Oh, that's incredible. That smells great.
Often used
Got
in
a whiff of that.
desserts.
That's so nice. Smells like a dessert on its own.
That's in the O gin. And then in front of us here we have, this is the lemon myrtle, the rainforest tree, the aniseed myrtle, which is a lovely one. It's a sort of a mild aniseed. This is the bubiala, the native juniper, olearia, the coastal daisy bush, wild fennel, which is obviously a European plant but grows as a weed around here, and we use that to make an anisette liqueur.
soft. We use this in India all the time as a
Oh,
digestive,
it's beautiful. I know.
with food.
I love it when it's fresh, it's sweet.
Yes.
And this is an eau de cologne mint, which is what's in the wild gin.
You can rub that behind your
Could
ears
rub
and
it
go for a
behind
little
your
walk.
ears. Yeah.
Shall we go on there before the walkthrough becomes a stumble through? Because if I have any
Yes.
more gin, I'm going to start giggling.
Let's do that. Oh, we're going.
Thank you.
This is that magic where the magic happens. So what you do is you start off with a neutral spirit. We use a grape spirit. We're in South Australia. There's very good manufacturers of ultra premium craft spirit quality grape spirit. We put it in the pot. We add some water so it doesn't dry. So when we take the alcohol, then we start to heat it up with some electric elements. But first of all, we put a basket in the neck, and I've got one here.
Okay.
And I have a few little other spices which I hang off the basket in the pot in the alcohol. So in here I've got lime zest, and in here I've got angelica and ginger, and in here is all the other spices. So I'm going to tip them out and you can get a feel for those. And then we dilute it back to bottle strength.
Look at those.
These are wonderful. We often use these to make something like gravlax, to cure fish, or as a jus for something like a venison or a wild pork or something.
Wow.
Because you can still see there's a lot of flavour still in there. So that's the majors, the coriander, the juniper predominantly, a bit of angelica, or the angelica's in that little net basket, but then all the minors are in here, the cardamom, the mace, the cinnamon, all that.
Wow.
And that has quite the hit of alcohol right now.
It does. It certainly does.
Woo.
So that's great to cook with. So that's how we would make gin, and then we bring it back to bottle strength once it's in the barrel. We have a lot of testing here in our country. We have to be accurate to 0.2% to pay the taxes, so we have a lot of testing that goes on here, and that's what you see, the laboratory style of things. Okay guys, so this is our barrel room. So the only difference is for our whiskey barrel and the old Tom, we put it in these little barrels. So we've got some French oak barrels for the old Tom. We leave it in there for 6 to 8, maybe 10 weeks, depending on the weather. In summer it's faster, in winter it's slower. And then over in the corner we've the old whiskey barrels I mentioned. That have been through a little bit before sherry and then whiskey.
Wow.
We put some of those in there as well.
Wow.
John's distillery was another example of a passionate Aussie spirit maker who took quality very seriously.
Is that the house, John?
Yes, that's where we live.
Oh, your beautiful house and a very quaint distillery.
Yes.
And the herb garden is all this?
This is all our gin garden. We've got scented plants and all sorts of things that we can use and go and pick for a garnish anywhere here, lemon verbena, all sorts of things that we can use. Elderberries, juniper bushes, it's all there.
You're living the life.
We are.
And what a fantastic backyard. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Thank you so much for all that.
Thanks for coming.
I think I'm switching to gin. I've been doing it almost for the last couple of years, but now this is the tipping point.
Our dinner was planned at this all-day gourmet bistro called Sean's Kitchen.
So I managed to get through to John, and that's why you're here at Sean's Kitchen, sitting at the chef's table with this beautiful food in front of us. Thank you, John.
All hail John.
You're welcome. I'm glad you came in.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fabulous. You know, we've been all over Adelaide. We've been eating to our heart's content. The one thing that's really struck me about Adelaide is how rapidly the food scene is changing. And you've been here for how long now in Adelaide?
Been here for 12 months now.
12 months, that's a year.
Yeah.
And can you see any of the changes becoming visible right now?
For me, I'm just trying to get out and actually explore everything and see all the new food. And coming from Sydney, like it's quite on some of the levels of Sydney. There's some really good cafes down in Brighton, some good place in Glenelg. I've been through the city and tried some of the restaurants as well. Some really good food.
But if you had to, like, say, pick one main difference between the food scene in Sydney and here in Adelaide, what would you think?
Well, Sydney's the big city, right?
Big city, I think it's just less of what there's still good food down here, just not as many places. So the food's not much different. Like, you look at what we're doing here as well, it's pretty on par with what Sydney's doing anyway. And a lot of the restaurants down here is just as good. There's just not as many.
But Sean's Kitchen is mainly about the meats. I mean, that's what my understanding was. Am I right?
For Sean's, it's mainly about the produce, having amazing produce and not doing too much with it. So just not overworking it, not making it overcomplicated, and keeping true to the flavour of the product. I think sometimes it's harder just to take something and keep it very simple, season perfectly, and just put it on the plate, rather than trying to do 10 things with it. I think you've got to be good to execute it, because it's got to be perfect every time.
So what's your signature sort of thing? In an ideal world, what would be the menu you want to put out?
Well, essentially here, it's like the seafood platter. The meat for us. That's like if we do when we do the chef's table, it's supposed to come in, start with seafood, then we might do like kingfish tails and some meat, some steaks, potatoes, and just kind of keep it true to the dry aged beef that we're doing and stuff like that. Showcase that, all that stuff.
Do you enjoy the chef's table though?
Chef's table's awesome.
How long back did this start happening in Australia? Do you know when the chef's table sort of really became popular? Because I've heard of chef's tables in every old Italian restaurant. The chef has got a little corner for his aunt or his cousin to come in and
or
just...
people that he plays cards with, and like everybody goes and hangs out there, and you know the best food in the restaurant is always there.
I'd say in the last sort of 10 years that I've really noticed in Australia that you sort of get it more and more, but more lately as well, like getting sort of more restaurants. In Sydney there's quite a lot of people that do it. Down here there's probably not as many, maybe 3 or 4 people that do it. I think this is probably one of the first in Adelaide to be done, because this has been here since it opened, so this has been here for 2.5, 3 years now.
Wow.
So the joy for them is that interaction with you and the fact that they're not even getting necessarily anything off the menu. It's like once you speak to them and you get some sense of what they like, you're going to be able to custom design that menu for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. I'm so glad you picked up those chopsticks. Because Rocky and I have been plugging away at that food and we haven't even reached for anything yet.
Too busy talking. And when you're in the kitchen all day, you always forget about eating yourself. You're too busy pressuring for everybody else.
But that's, people say that. It doesn't work for me. Like everybody says, if you're in the kitchen for a long time, you really don't feel hungry. And I'm like, that's not true. The longer I am in the kitchen, the hungrier I get. You know, I'm ready to eat. Does it work that way for you, or do you just sort of lose your appetite by the end of the evening?
I'm tasting all night, so I'm eating all night. So you haven't lost your appetite because you're actually eating.
Yeah.
And you're tasting and stuff like that. So you kind of forget, and then I get home, and then I go, I'm starving.
Whereas, the snow crab, is that Australian as well?
That's Alaskan.
Oh,
That's the one thing that but it's awesome, so we
Well, then we won't talk about it. Yeah, because we want to do just local stuff.
But everything else is local. The prawns are local. Mussels, clams, oysters, Coffin Bay. All the fish is local.
So as a vegetarian, I'm still often very interested. If, as a chef, you had to close your eyes, would you be able to tell the difference between clams and mussels?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe the difference? I'm just curious. I'm not a chef. I have to ask these things.
Just texture alone.
Okay, just the texture is very
Texture alone is completely different. But yeah, I think a clam's a little bit more chewy, mussels a bit more tender, a little bit more salty and more flavoursome.
Should we do a taste test on Rocky? Should we like close his eyes and see if we can tell the difference between the mussels and the clams?
Of course I can.
Come on, Rocky, close your eyes then.
I'm not closing my eyes and having you put things in my mouth.
I'm definitely not putting things in your mouth. Come on.
I'm too smart for that.
I'll put 2 things on there, and I'll guide your chopstick to it. And you have to put them in your mouth.
No.
And you have to tell.
No, I think you should just eat more of what you're eating.
Do you want to try some of this?
I'm not challenging the chef because I'm sure the chef would be able to figure that one out.
No, you just look at... Just look at the difference of texture.
That's the oyster. I think that one
That's
you'll be able
huge.
to
I mean,
figure
it's
out.
completely different.
But mussels and
From the
clams?
clam. Yeah, of course you can. Clams are a very different flavor. Mussels are, just a lot more firm and dry. Clams are a lot more chewy. So, it's easy to tell them apart.
I'm only convinced if you agree to do a blind taste testing.
No, not with you around. I'll take my chances when you're not there.
Suddenly Rocky's wondering why his clams are tasting of raw lime or a spoonful of wasabi. That was the plan.
Can you tell the difference between cauliflower and... what is that? That's
pumpkin.
Between cauliflower and pumpkin?
Yes, especially because one is deep fried and the other isn't.
I think you should close your eyes.
Your turn.
Rocky and Mayur, I'm sure, had a great time at Sean's Kitchen. They loved the food and had a great time.